Hey everyone! Welcome back to KindSoul Stories. Today's story is truly heartwarming, about a young girl whose life was changed forever by the kindness of a humble mechanic. Before we begin, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and tell us where you're watching from in the comments below. Now let's get started. In Dallas, Texas, the summer sun burned brightly over the city streets, glinting off the asphalt and reflecting on car windows. 10-year-old Mia Thompson, female, sat quietly in her wheelchair, watching the neighborhood kids play outside, their laughter drifting into her room through the open window. Her small hands rested on the armrests, and a faint frown shadowed her face. Since the accident 3 years ago, life had slowed for her in ways she had never imagined. She could no longer run across the park or chase after her friends. Even climbing the stairs at home was impossible. Her wheelchair was her constant companion, and though it allowed her to move from place to place, it felt confining compared to the freedom she remembered. Each day blended into the next, quiet and predictable, marked by schoolwork, occasional phone calls with friends, and long hours staring at the world she could no longer fully explore. Her father, Mark Thompson, 40, male, was a businessman constantly juggling work and family life. Despite his busy schedule, he did everything in his power to make Mia happy. He brought her books, arranged tutoring sessions, and attempted small joys like weekend trips to the park or the nearby ice cream shop. Yet he often felt helpless. Watching his daughter's bright eyes dim over months of inactivity was a pain he could not ease. Each time she asked about going outside to play, he had to hide his frustration and shake his head gently, explaining why it wasn't safe or possible. He would smile, tuck her hair behind her ears, and tell her she was the bravest girl he had ever known, but inside his heart ached with guilt and sorrow. Mark wanted more than anything to give her freedom, to see her smile unburdened by the limitations of her condition. One humid afternoon, their old family car sputtered to a stop outside their small suburban home. Mark cursed under his breath as he tried to restart it, sweat beading on his forehead. Mia watched from her wheelchair, her small lips pressed together in concern. Her father knelt beside the engine, frowning at the worn parts and frayed wires. They had been through enough challenges, and now the car, their main means to go to school, therapy sessions and appointments, had failed them. Just then, from across the street, a young mechanic emerged from a modest garage. He was Jake Wilson, 26, male, a man with grease-stained clothes, hands calloused from hard work, and eyes that seemed to carry both exhaustion and warmth. He noticed the situation immediately and walked over with a friendly smile. "Need some help?" he asked, his voice calm but confident. Mark hesitated for a moment, sizing him up. Most strangers ignored his daughter, or worse, offered pity that Mia could sense immediately. But something about Jake felt different. He wasn't staring at Mia with fear or judgment. He was looking at her as if he could see past her wheelchair to the girl inside. "Yes, the car won't start," Mark said cautiously, wiping his hands on a rag. "It just died." Jake nodded, crouching beside the car to inspect the engine. His movements were precise yet unhurried, every touch intentional, almost like he could hear the machines speaking to him. Mia leaned forward slightly, curiosity flickering in her eyes. She had always loved watching machines work, fascinated by their hidden mechanisms and the way small adjustments could make a difference. Jake noticed her interest and smiled at her. "Hi there," he said gently, kneeling near her wheelchair. "I'm Jake. What's your name?" "I'm Mia," she replied softly, eyes wide. There was no pity in her voice, only caution and a hint of hope she hadn't felt in years. "That's a brave co-pilot," Jake said warmly, glancing at Mark, then back at Mia. "Do you want to help me fix this car?" Mia hesitated, unsure, but her father nodded encouragingly. She extended a small hand, and Jake guided her gently to touch a part of the engine, explaining in simple terms what he was doing. Mark watched, astonished at the ease with which Jake connected with his daughter. There was no condescension, no rushing, just patience and genuine kindness. As Jake worked, he noticed Mia's wheelchair parked beside the car. Its wheels were worn, the joystick stuck in certain positions, and the frame seemed slightly bent from years of heavy use. Without a word, he leaned closer, inspecting it as carefully as he had the engine. "Does this chair give you trouble?" Jake asked softly, turning his attention to Mia, her lips pressed together. "Yes," she whispered. "It breaks down a lot." Mark stepped closer, his tone wary. "We've tried everything. The doctor said there's nothing advanced enough to help her walk again." Jake nodded thoughtfully, his eyes fixed on the chair's motor and wheels. "I can try to make this better," he said simply. There was no arrogance in his tone, only quiet confidence. Anna looked at him incredulously. "You're not a medical expert," she murmured, almost afraid to hope. Jake shook his head lightly. "No, ma'am. I'm just a mechanic. But sometimes machines and people just need a little heart." Mia's eyes lit up for the first time in months. She leaned forward, intrigued. "Can it move faster?" she asked. Jake chuckled. "We'll see what we can do." Carefully, he guided the chair into his garage across the street. Tools were scattered across benches, radios played softly, and the air smelled of oil and metal. Jake set to work, measuring, tightening, rewiring, and adjusting every detail. Mia watched, fascinated. Her father hovered nearby, silently praying this young man could bring even a small spark of joy into their daughter's life. Hours passed, but neither Mia nor Mark felt impatient. For once, they weren't waiting for disappointment. They were watching hope unfold before them. Finally, Jake stepped back, wiped his hands on a rag, and looked at Mia. "Ready to try it?" he asked. Mia's small hands gripped the joystick. She pushed forward. The chair rolled smoothly, effortlessly, without a single stutter. Her eyes widened. It works," she whispered, spinning in a small circle. Mark's eyes welled with tears as he watched his daughter's laughter echo through the garage. It wasn't just movement, it was freedom, hope, and a reminder that even small acts of kindness could transform a life. Days after Mia Thompson, 10, female received her custom minicar from Jake Wilson, 25. Male, life in the Thompson household began to feel brighter. The little girl's laughter echoed through the quiet Dallas neighborhood, a sound neighbors hadn't heard in years. Each morning, she would rush outside, her tiny hands gripping the steering wheel of her electric minicar with newfound confidence. Her wheels glided smoothly across the driveway and sidewalk, maneuvering around garden beds and the occasional stray bicycle. Children from nearby houses stopped by, curiosity and excitement in their eyes, and soon Mia found herself leading small parade circuits with her friends cheering her on. Even the mailman paused to watch her drive by, smiling at the sheer joy radiating from the young girl. For Mia, every turn, every spin was a small victory, a taste of freedom she had longed for since the accident. Her mother, Anna Parker, 36, female, watched from the porch with a mixture of pride and disbelief. After years of struggle, watching her daughter confined to a wheelchair, Anna could hardly believe that something as simple as a miniature car could bring so much happiness. She often wiped away tears as she observed Mia's confidence growing, noting how her daughter's eyes sparkled in a way they hadn't in years. Even the small, everyday frustrations, like struggling to climb the porch ramp or waiting for assistance, seemed lighter now. Anna's heart swelled with gratitude for Jake, the young mechanic whose kindness had brought hope and joy back into their lives. One late afternoon, as the sun cast golden hues over the street, a sleek black limousine slowly rolled up to the Thompson driveway. The engine's low hum and the gleaming polished exterior immediately drew attention. Children paused their games, turning to watch in awe. Mia's eyes widened, her hands tightening around the steering wheel of her mini-car as she approached the vehicle with caution and curiosity. From the limo's rear door emerged Olivia Reynolds, 35, female, impeccably dressed and carrying herself with calm authority. She represented a well-known charity organization focused on empowering children with disabilities, particularly through innovative adaptive technology. Olivia's warm smile and approachable demeanor immediately put Mia at ease, despite the impressive presence of the limousine and its aura of sophistication. "Hello, Mia," Olivia began gently, kneeling to meet the young girl's gaze. "I've heard about your amazing mini-car, and I think it's wonderful. Your story has inspired so many people." Mia blinked, unsure how to respond. She had grown used to being careful around strangers, but there was something different about Olivia. Her tone was sincere, her eyes kind, and she spoke as if she truly understood Mia's experience. Jake, standing beside her, gave a subtle nod of reassurance, his own pride visible in his quiet smile. Olivia explained that her organization had been searching for examples of children overcoming mobility challenges through creative solutions, and Mia's mini car perfectly embodied their mission. She invited Mia and her family to attend a special event that showcased innovative, adaptive vehicles designed to improve the lives of children with disabilities across the country. The event would allow Mia to meet other children, experience different technologies, and even have her own story highlighted as inspiration for families facing similar challenges. Mia's eyes widened further, sparkling with excitement and disbelief. For the first time, she realized that her minicar wasn't just a source of personal joy. It could have an impact far beyond her driveway. Anna's hands trembled slightly as she processed the opportunity. Years of challenges, financial strain, and emotional struggle had often made her feel powerless to provide for Mia in the ways she wished. Yet here was a chance to not only celebrate her daughter's progress, but also to connect with a wider community and potentially help other children. She glanced at Jake, who had quietly stepped back, letting the moment unfold. He smiled softly, pride evident in the gentle curve of his lips. Without needing words, his expression said it all. He had created something meaningful, something that could touch lives beyond their small neighborhood. Over the next few days, preparations for the event began. Olivia and her team coordinated travel, accommodations, and logistics for Mia and Anna. They arranged for the minicar to be transported safely, and even included demonstrations for other children attending the event. Jake helped ensure the car was polished, the battery fully charged, and all safety mechanisms in place. Mia eagerly practiced maneuvers, her small laughter filling the garage and driveway as she became more confident with each pass. Anna watched with pride, reflecting on how far her daughter had come in such a short time, and how the kindness of a stranger had ignited this entire chain of events. On the day of the event, Mia, Anna, and Jake arrived at a large convention center filled with colorful displays of adaptive technology. Wheelchairs with special features, modified vehicles, and interactive exhibits. Children wheeled around, tested new devices, and shared stories of their experiences. Mia's minicar immediately attracted attention, drawing gasps and smiles from other attendees. Photographers and journalists asked to capture her driving the vehicle, while Olivia introduced Mia to other families, highlighting her creativity and the care Jake had shown in building her custom car. Mia's joy was contagious. She laughed freely, spun in circles, and even encouraged other children to try out her vehicle under careful supervision. Jake watched quietly from the sidelines, hands tucked into his pockets, soaking in the moment. He didn't seek recognition or accolades, but seeing Mia light up, interacting confidently with peers, and being celebrated for something he had made with his own hands filled him with a deep sense of satisfaction. Anna stood nearby, wiping tears from her cheeks, whispering gratitude to both Jake and the universe for orchestrating such a miraculous turn of events. For Mia, what started as a simple gift from a mechanic had transformed into a symbol of empowerment, showing her that her challenges didn't define her, and that hope could manifest in the most unexpected ways. By the end of the day, Mia's story had been shared across local media. Her minicar had inspired countless families, and Jake quietly became known as the young man whose kindness had sparked something much bigger than he had ever imagined. Anna held Mia close, smiling as her daughter spoke excitedly about future adventures, adaptive technologies she wanted to try, and dreams she had once thought impossible. Mia's laughter echoed through the hall, and in that sound, everyone present could hear the pure essence of hope, joy, and the incredible power of compassion combined with creativity. The morning of the charity event dawned bright and clear over Dallas, Texas, with the sun casting golden rays across the city streets. Mia Thompson, 10, female, could hardly contain her excitement as she wheeled herself into the driveway, her miniature electric car gleaming in the sunlight. Her father, Mark Thompson, 40, male, dressed in a crisp suit, watched from the passenger side of the limo with a mixture of pride, nervous anticipation, and wonder. The limo had carried them in style, but it was Mia's little car that drew all the attention. Its vibrant paint, sturdy wheels, and careful custom design created by Jake Wilson, 26, male, told a story of ingenuity, love, and hope. As they arrived at the convention center, the sprawling campus buzzed with energy. Children of all ages wheeled around with adaptive devices, played with interactive exhibits, and shared laughter with peers and parents. Bright banners displaying the charity's mission fluttered in the gentle breeze, and volunteers scurried about, preparing demonstrations and workshops. Mia's arrival caused a ripple of excitement. Whispers spread quickly that a young girl had driven her own custom-made minicar, crafted by a mechanic who had noticed her limitations and refused to accept them as permanent. Jake followed behind Mia, his hands tucked into his pockets, careful not to draw attention to himself. Though he had built the car with care and ingenuity, he had never imagined it would lead to this moment, a gathering of innovators, philanthropists, engineers, and journalists, all eager to see a simple creation bring so much joy. He glanced at Mia, who waved confidently at other children, spinning in circles and laughing as she maneuvered her car through the open space. Her smile was contagious, drawing smiles and chuckles from parents and strangers alike. Every spin of her wheels seemed to echo a message of empowerment, independence, and possibility. Mark Thompson's eyes followed every movement of his daughter. He had spent countless hours worrying about Mia's happiness, the challenges of her mobility, and the limitations imposed by her condition. Watching her now, radiating confidence and joy, tears welled up in his eyes. This wasn't just a moment of personal triumph. It was a statement to the world that disability did not equal limitation, that hope and ingenuity could redefine what a child could achieve. He glanced at Jake, noticing the quiet pride in the young mechanic's expression. Jake didn't need applause or recognition. His satisfaction came from seeing Mia's laughter, her gleaming eyes, and her newfound independence. The mysterious visitor from the limo, Olivia Reynolds, 35, female, approached Mia with a warm smile. "Everyone, this is Mia Thompson," she announced. "And this is Jake Wilson, the brilliant young man who made this possible." Engineers, innovators, and media personnel gathered around, eager to shake hands, ask questions, and learn about the story behind the car. Olivia explained how Mia's experience could inspire further research, adaptive vehicle design, and programs to empower children with mobility challenges. The miniature car became a symbol of what could happen when empathy, creativity, and determination collided. Children quickly surrounded Mia, fascinated by the mechanics, the colorful design, and the speed at which she could maneuver. Some had wheelchairs or adaptive devices of their own, and their eyes lit up at the thought that they, too, could experience such freedom. Mia giggled as she allowed them to take turns, carefully guiding them under Jake's watchful eye. Each interaction was punctuated by laughter, cheers, and the occasional excited exclamation. For Mia, this wasn't just a display. It was a moment of empowerment, a taste of equality, and the joy of connecting with peers who understood her world. Journalists took photos and recorded videos, documenting the event with admiration. Local news anchors interviewed Mark, who spoke humbly about his daughter's courage and the extraordinary kindness of a mechanic who had seen potential where others had only seen limitation. Jake, standing slightly aside, answered questions with quiet confidence, always redirecting praise back to Mia. "She's the one who inspired the idea," he said softly. "I just helped make it real." His modesty did not go unnoticed. Attendees were impressed that such a transformative creation had come from the hands of a young man who simply cared. Throughout the day, Mia participated in workshops and demonstrations. Engineers showed her prototypes of advanced adaptive vehicles, interactive mobility tools, and devices designed to improve independence for children with disabilities. She listened attentively, asked thoughtful questions, and offered her perspective, what worked, what didn't, and how her own minicar could be improved. Olivia guided the discussions, ensuring that Mia's voice remained central to the event. Every comment and idea she contributed was met with nods of understanding and enthusiastic scribbles from engineers taking notes. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the convention center's courtyard, the event reached its climax. Mia was invited to drive her minicar on a central platform, with parents, children, and innovators gathered around to watch. Cameras flashed and a hush fell over the crowd. With Jake standing nearby, hands hovering close in case assistance was needed, Mia maneuvered her car with ease. She accelerated carefully, navigated small turns, and even spun in a tight circle, eliciting cheers and applause from everyone present. Mark's chest swelled with pride, and Anna's eyes glistened with tears as she watched her daughter's transformation from a quiet, constrained child to a confident, joyous, and empowered young girl. Olivia stepped forward, handing Mia a small plaque recognizing her courage and the impact of her story. "This is for you, Mia," she said, her voice warm and proud, "for showing everyone that determination, creativity, and kindness can change lives." Mia clutched the plaque, a wide smile spreading across her face. She looked at Jake, eyes sparkling. "Thank you," she whispered, Jake's gentle nod and quiet smile spoke volumes. They had done more than build a car. They had sparked hope, ignited dreams, and created a ripple effect that would touch children and families far beyond Dallas. By the end of the day, Mia had made new friends, shared countless laughs, and experienced a sense of freedom she had never imagined possible. Journalists filed their stories online and on television, spreading her narrative across the country. The little girl, who had once been confined to a wheelchair, was now seen as a beacon of courage and possibility. Jake's humble act had transformed a family, inspired a community, and captured the hearts of all who witnessed it. What had started as a simple gesture, building a miniature car for a young girl, had blossomed into a movement, showing that sometimes the smallest acts of kindness can create the largest impact. As dusk settled over Dallas, Mia leaned back in her car, smiling at Jake and her parents. "I feel like I can do anything," she said softly. Anna hugged her tightly, tears of joy streaming down her face. Mark nodded, pride evident in every line of his face. Jake, standing back with a quiet sense of accomplishment, knew that the real reward wasn't recognition or applause. It was seeing the pure, unfiltered joy of a child whose world had been expanded in ways no doctor, hospital, or textbook could have imagined. The event concluded with Mia waving at the crowd one last time, the lights of the evening reflecting off her car's polished surface. Cameras captured the moment, but more importantly, hearts were captured. The hearts of children dreaming of freedom, parents dreaming of possibilities, and a community inspired to believe that limitations exist only until someone dares to challenge them. Michael, or Jake as everyone now knew, smiled quietly, knowing that what he had built was more than a car. It was a bridge to hope, courage, and a brighter, more inclusive future.